We've given you a look at some of the newest and coolest smartphone devices on the market for this holiday season. myPhoneMD founder Jeff Lyons highlighted some of those features, and he's back to talk about some of these phones and what is good about them and what's bad. So let's talk about batteries and which one is best to go with.
Yeah, the prime consideration for most people when searching for a phone of this magnitude, because of the processing power, because of the speed, because of the graphics and the data connectivity, it's battery life. It doesn't do you any good if the thing's in your pocket, you pull it out and there's nothing there. Apple historically has had the most phenomenal battery life in the market, whether it's tablets, laptops, or phones. In a cruel twist of fate, though, due to a software update for the new 4S, 4, and 3GS, that's starting to change due to advances in Android and the fact that there's a slight bug in the software that causes it to drain a little faster. So there's some parity across the board now.
And in terms of reception, I mean, it depends like who you're talking to sometimes. You can have a good reception with someone. Is that more about the carrier or is that the phone? Well,
the manufacturers want to put it on the carrier, but Consumer Reports last year on the iPhone 4 actually gave it it did not give it the must-buy award that it had given the previous iterations because of the famous AntennaGate antenna issue. That has been resolved. So while the battery life has decreased slightly, which they say is going to be corrected, reception has gotten much better. It's much more clear across all carriers, AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint. Sound quality, a lot of the HTC phones and Samsungs are going to be slightly better, but as far as reception and holding a signal, they're all fairly equal across the board these days, so to speak.
Especially during big events like Mardi Gras and Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh! If you've ever tried to get a call out at a Saints game or a text message, even though there's dedicated cell service within the dome, it's just not going to happen.
So that the phones get put on the carrier.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Let's talk about speed and accessing your email quickly and any other sort of data.
Yeah, there's two different types of speed. Most people identify with your network. 3G, 4G, what's the difference? LTE, WiMAX, what's going on? The other variable is, of course, the hardware, processing power, RAM, graphics capability, etc. 4G speeds obviously are better. Out in this area, New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana, Verizon has it, Sprint has some installations, but the HSPA Plus, which is going to run on AT&T, in this area is seemingly as fast. You're not going to run into too many issues as long as you select one of these top-tier devices and accessing your data. It's just a matter of how quick you can pull it in, and it's bandwidth related.
And in terms of the best displays, you've got three of them here. I mean, I can hold up one for you, and you can hold up the other two. Which do you think basically would have the best displays?
Okay. There's two things to consider here. There's obviously the contrast and brightness, and then there's the pixel density or resolution. This particular device, the Resound, is just like your television at home. It's a 720p. This is the Apple Retina display, which is actually less in terms of resolution, but the pixel density is higher. So viewing angle is also important, in terms of trying to display things or look at it from opposing angles. The Super AMOLED is wonderful.
You can hold it back.
I'm sorry about that. The Super AMOLED is wonderful, which is on this particular device. The Retina display by Apple is wonderful. Any of the top-tier devices, whether they're from Samsung, LG, whether they're from Nokia now, or they're from Apple or from HTC, are going to have really great displays for viewing content, whether it's text, whether it's video, whether it's gaming. So it's really a personal preference, so to speak.
And one last thing, these, especially the front of them, they're so sensitive. Are you one of those people that recommend having some sort of cover on this?
Yeah, we recommend going with a high-end defensive approach, meaning something like an OtterBox or a Life Case. In the event that you do have an issue, we do specialize in repair, refurbishment, recycling these devices. We've got 7 locations in Louisiana. We can get you in and out and on with your life. It's also a great gift at the holiday season to reconnect a loved one or a friend to their phone that's been damaged.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's interesting to watch to see what the future apps will be. I mean, they've got a couple of apps there now where we had an interview about a week back where you could program for it to automatically call your loved one if you're in trouble. So the apps are just amazing, all the different things that they can do and what's coming out. Sure.
We've talked a lot about hardware, but software is really where the action's at. The ecosystem with Apple and with Android and also with a Windows Phone, they're increasing more and more every day. You've got something like 500,000 applications available for this. How do you weed through them? Really do your research. But we look at what we can do now compared to where we were at just 2 or 3 years ago, and it really is fascinating to think where we may be in that period of time in the future.
When your phone can cook and shop for you and do all that, then I'll be really impressed too. Thanks a lot for coming in and sharing those tips.
Thank you so much, Liz.